So what's going on, gentlemen?
Should we talk about Destiny?
Yeah, let's talk a little Destiny, maybe.
That reminds me of something. But first, I think we have to make notice here. We are missing somebody today.
We are.
Thank you, Hungy in chat
Deej is not here.
telling us it's not Deej. Unfortunately, we have
For
to.
the many episodes in a row, he said no. He said he's not gonna.
He keeps saying no.
He says like, you guys can't tweet me 10 minutes before the show and expect me to ever do a podcast. There's a lot of like stuff to lay out before that happens. He says, please contact me before, maybe a week in advance. We always forget. So sorry, Deej is
Maybe
not here.
someday. Yeah, sorry. Also, Mega, he's not here. He's off doing family things, which is good. Good for him. Important.
Yeah,
Nice Scott. But yeah, I was kind of similar to you, Story. I was working over the winter break, and I kind of came back and thought, I really want to play some Destiny PvP because nothing hits the spot like Destiny PvP. You know what? I want to be different. I'm gonna pick a random series of guns from my vault and head into PvP. Oh.
Did it result in a therapy session afterwards by any chance?
It resulted in a dead therapist.
Yeah.
He couldn't take all the salt that I was pouring out from the very depths of my soul. So let me tell you guys what I did. I went through and I was like, oh, you know what? I have a really decently rolled Hopscotch Pilgrim. I'm going to take that into PvP. It took 2 games.
Yeah.
2 games for me to say never again. And high impact pulse rifles are kind of in an interesting spot right now. They're like extremely high risk, high reward. You can 2 burst in a lot of them, stuff like the Lyudmila, the Parthian shot, which I actually made a review video on the Parthian shot a few weeks ago. It's one of my favorite weapons now.
Yeah.
Hopscotch Pilgrim.
No.
Not one of my favorite guns. No,
I've got about 3 or 4 reasonable rolls on those, like saving it for the day that
Same
maybe
here.
they get a buff.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually shot one yet at all.
It's been a long time.
It was the same here. I had a few rolls of it, and I wanted to test them out, and like none of them felt good.
Yeah.
Just
Do you know why I don't
It's
use
just
it?
a strange
I don't
spot
like the look.
because they're sort of standard now. A lot of those pulse rifles actually have the same structure as like the first pulse rifles.
Exactly. It's like
And
holding
I
a
always,
pickup truck to your face.
Yeah, I hate pulses that cover a lot of your screen on the right side.
Yeah,
and it's like it
fat
like walls
gun.
off your peripheral. So if you're sprinting, you're never gonna see if someone like blindsides you from there. So that's why I didn't use them back in the day. And then a few other designs came in and really helped with that. But there's still 1 or 2 that really cover a lot of your side view. And it drives
Those guns
me
need to
insane.
go on a diet. They're too fat, man.
Yeah, man.
Way too fat.
Yeah.
I used to be a huge lover of the Messenger. You remember that gun?
Yeah.
It's kind of like
yeah.
the Hopscotch, one of
That
those
was my
really hard
trials.
pulse rifles.
Yep.
Yeah. That gun was like a frozen rope. Like you just hit. It was like, it was just perfect. It was so accurate. And then when you got that 2-tap, you just felt so good about everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was my first ever House of Wolves Trials gun.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I got it first time. I was really happy with that. I still have it on Xbox.
same here, actually. I think I still got mine too.
OG.
That is a classic gun.
Yeah, man.
You know what? That might actually be a decent place to move the conversation, since of course there's not really a whole lot going on in the world of Destiny
Oh, there's
right
not?
now. At least until this week. I think we're getting a This Week at Bungie done on this coming Thursday.
Yeah.
But yeah, cross your fingers.
Just anything, Like I don't even know what I'm doing
Hope
this
for it.
for. I just want it to mean something.
Cosmo being like, yeah, this is what I had for lunch today. And we're like, awesome.
I'll take it. I can
I
make
feel
7
bad for them
videos
when
out
they
of that.
gotta-
I
I
can do that.
appreciate them when they can write those out and actually give us some sort of text, and then it's they want to tell us stuff or they wish it was more informative, but sometimes it's
Yeah.
like, oh man, you still got to put.
It's not like
those
they
out.
don't want to let us know
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, and as a writer
But-
who sometimes doesn't want to write something or has nothing to say, it's frustrating to make it sound like you gotta read it.
So we just kind of have to make up our own content. And as part of this whole taking different weapons into the Crucible thing, I took in some old favorites of mine, like my Year 1 Devil You Know, and my
dude.
my old Hakon's Hatchet. And so I wanted to kind of throw it to you guys. Do you guys have any like classic weapons? I know Bones probably doesn't because he's Mr. Vault Space Efficiency. But you guys have any classic weapons you feel the nostalgia for? You go back to test?
Absolutely. I've got too many of them. That's the thing. I've tried to hold on to as
Same
many
here.
of them as possible. I had to delete my Fatebringer at one point. That was quite a tender moment.
Aw, that's sad.
But while I'm looking in my vault right now, you guys can talk about your weapons, because I'll probably have like a massive back catalogue of them here.
I have
Link,
a Praetor's Revenge in my vault.
So that's
The
worth
Praetor's
keeping.
Revenge.
The
That's a
best
good gun.
scout rifle of year one, as I
Yeah,
used to
dude.
call it.
Yeah,
Classic.
and I have a BTRD
The Beatard.
heavy machine gun only because that was statistically superior to literally every other.
Yes.
heavy
Okay.
machine
Can we
gun that's
talk a
been in
bit
the
for?
game.
Can we talk a bit about the BTRD? That was
Yeah, sure.
legit the best machine gun of year one.
Yeah.
And like, I get so many people who argue, no, man, zombie apocalypse, Yolder's hammer. No,
no.
BTRD was statistically better
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
every other machine gun in
abusive.
year one. Yeah.
What was that
it-
thing that could 2-tap with crowd control? The green one. It was like the
Xerxes
Xanax or something.
C.
Yeah, there you go.
I think it's the
Yeah.
Xerxes with focus fire or something like that, but
Yeah.
it kicks like a mule.
Like a
And you get
But,
egg balls
um,
on those things.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I still have that actually, sitting in my vault. A stupid Ag Balls Focus Fire Xerxes C. Pulled out every now and again. But the BTRD, like, you could get max stability rolls with that thing. It had the perfect mixture of fire rate and impact, and I think it had stock, 45 rounds in the mag?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it was. It was
Yeah.
like higher than
It was
the usual
really
amount.
high.
It's smaller now, and that's why
Yeah.
I don't really pull it out, even if I'm in Standard Crucible. You get like 30 shots or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that thing could. Those machine guns used to hit like a truck.
Yeah,
back in
they
the
did.
day.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Scary.
mine right now. 42 in the magazine, which is ludicrous for a machine gun.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So yeah, that one.
I'm
I
glad
have
that
that.
you're a lover of the Devil You Know, by the way, Link. Or you had, that was my favorite hand cannon way back when. I used to roll into matchmaking with Devil You Know
Yep.
and Pocket Infinity together.
Oh, man.
I mean, do you even really need the Devil You Know, though, if you had the Pocket
No.
Infinity?
No.
You just whatever. You just need to
Do you
That's-
need a subclass? Do you need grenades?
No, you
Get
just
any-
walk in and hold charge and win.
Yeah, man.
That was Pocket Infinity in year one.
Spin in a circle.
So much fun.
I never
But
got
yeah,
to
Link-
test that out in its original state in Pocket Infinity.
No?
I got it after they nerfed it.
It's still good, though.
Yeah, it's still good.
Seriously, I have a video coming out on my channel tomorrow. I made a video like a week ago of I was just bored with the current meta, like every game going in with like Ias Luna, Palindrome, Matador.
Yeah.
So I went into matchmaking with a year one loadout. What did I do? I did Sunsinger with the Thorn, and I made another video. I went in with Blade Dancer, Blink, Arc Bolt, Pocket Infinity, and Shadow Price. And holy God, do I miss Pocket Infinity so
Yeah, man.
much.
Yeah.
That
It's
should
still
come
really
back.
good, though.
Yeah, that should come
Still
back.
really good.
It was affected by the blanket stability buff for fusions, right?
I can't remember. It was so
Yeah.
long ago. They groin kicked that gun pretty hard, though. And for the longest time, it wasn't allowed in competitive play. So I old yellered it. I took it out back, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that gun kind of in its initial form needed a nerf. Like, I'll
yeah.
sign off on the nerf for the Pocket Infinity. There's still so many people who came in during year 2 and year 3 who never got to experience what it was like to use that or have it used on you. Have somebody walk into a room full of people, hold charge, and 3 seconds later,
Everyone's
Seventh column.
dead. Everybody's dead. I only
just-
saw
I-
footage. I never got to experience it, man. Shed a
it was
tear.
nuts.
Yeah.
It was a ludicrous gun back in the day.
And the
So
Mythoclast, like, I mean, I got that
Oh,
several
Lord.
months after that was originally nerfed, but that always has a little bit of a fond section of my.
Was that the
Listen.
first? Was that the first overpowered gun in Destiny? Like truly overpowered.
Was
it
Pocket
the Vex
Infinity
Mythoclast?
first though? Before, because that was more accessible
Was
than
it?
the Mythoclast, I think.
I
'cause
can't remember.
Pocket Infinity.
Yeah.
Pocket Infinity got nerfed first. It was
Yeah.
the
Are
very
you sure?
first gun.
Are you
I'm pretty
really
sure it was
sure?
the first gun, the first exotic gun at least. I'm
Because
pretty
it was
sure
in the
to
game
get nerfed.
before, because we had hard mode of Vault of Glass.
It was in the game, sure,
Yes.
before the Vex
Yeah.
Mythoclast. But I remember that people were uploading footage of taking the Vex Mythoclast into PvP, the original Vex Mythoclast, and
Yeah.
it was just no contest.
Yeah.
It's like
it had
a
this huge
3
clip,
or 4 shot.
and it was just perfectly accurate. The bullets or the bolts or whatever, it had like no travel time.
Yep.
Just like dead, dead.
I think
dead.
the Vex Mythoclast could have been such a bigger problem, but because it was so rare, that it was
Yes.
actually okay. I mean, it needed a nerf and it got fixed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, because that's probably not how they intended that to work at all. But
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh my god, everything is Vex Mythoclast. It's
True.
everything. It was just
Yeah.
like the 3 people that got lucky on their first ever Vaulted Glass hard mode
Oh my
that
gosh.
got it. But that could have gone so poorly had that just been in
So
everyone's
poorly.
vault.
I remember watching clips on YouTube of a guy. Every time he popped in a lobby, he just emptied the lobby, and he was just on his own. You know?
Yeah. They're like, dude, screw this.
It was strong. It was super strong.
Gosh.
It definitely needed that initial nerf. I'm not sure it needed the 17 nerfs it got after that.
Yeah.
It seemed like every patch contained a nerf for fusions and a nerf
Meh.
for the Mythic class in particular. And it makes me sad now because it kicks like a mule.
I only had one gripe with it in PvP, and that was that when you were being hit by it, like as with a lot of weapons, you don't get much feedback, you know, from like the sounds. Like I remember in Battlefield 3 when I was maining that all the time. When you got hit, and it was a really large sound effect, and your screen had slightly like flash red. So you knew you were being hit, so you were like, oh, immediately dodge and evade. But with the Mythoclast, I was likening it to a cat sipping a saucer of milk. And like, you didn't know you were being shot at by it, so like you got melted like super quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that was... but back to the Devil You Know, I think that was one of my first ever legendaries that I got that I really enjoyed using, I think, in PvP. But I didn't keep it. It wasn't a great role. It was just the only one that I got. And yeah, man, so...
Yeah, I brought it into PvP this past week just to mess around with it. It's just like I haven't used it in forever. I was like, yeah, let's take this out, have some fun.
Yeah,
And it actually felt pretty good when you get that 3-tap. You're just like, oh yeah, that's awesome. But of
Yeah.
course, it can't compare on paper to the guns that everyone is using right now, like the
Yeah.
IS Luna. Everybody's got a palindrome. Everybody's got an IS Luna.
yeah.
So, but it was fun while it lasted.
It's a sticky gun though, because I mean, if you're using it in like
sticky.
Supremacy and everyone's right in your face, I had one a year 2 one, but I used it for a little bit with Luck in the Chamber, and it's like magnets,
Ooh.
magnets to heads.
Magnets.
I got a God roll on one recently. Outlaw, reactive reload, sure shot, rifle barrel.
I'll take it.
Yeah, man.
You actually got a rifle barrel hand cannon? I
know.
thought that didn't happen to you.
No,
Oh,
it doesn't
I
happen.
didn't-
It broke a string of the casket mag curse. If you've seen any of my Twitter recently, every hand cannon that I get has got casket mag on it. And it broke that, but then at the same day, I had a really well-rolled comedian and that Devil You Know from Vanguard, and that's like 2 decent weapons in one day. You've broken the universe story. That's it now. Everything since then, you know, I get like maybe 1 or 2 decent drops every 3 months. So I'll have another 3 months of casket mag now. So, which
The
sucks.
dam is gonna break, and Story's gonna roll into matchmaking and get showered by Matadors and Lunas and everything.
Every game.
No, I had I have 1 Matador from SRL, 200 races of SRL, 1 Luna, which I actually use. It's a brace frame Luna. It's actually quite good. It's decent enough.
Really?
For close quarters, yeah. But braced frame, like a friend of mine said that it's probably a very underrated perk for the I don't know whether it's hand cannons in general, but definitely on the Luna archetype. Because if you go out and you test the recoil pattern, it has next to no recoil at all. So you can really spam, and because of the extra stability, it doesn't ghost anywhere near as much as a rifle barrel one. The only problem is your damage drop off will begin, I can't remember the exact like damage drop off in meters, but it begins it's a lot shorter than
Probably 20 something.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's still not bad. Like I pretty much used it in trials for the whole weekend on a couple flawless cards, and it is good. I mean, I didn't really expect much out of it because you think you really do need that range, but stability might just be underrated a little bit on those. But
I was gonna say, because like the base IS Luna already has really high base stability. It's like, I want to say 56 or somewhere
It's up
around
there.
there.
It's
Yeah,
quite a
with-
bit
So
more
with-
than the palindrome.
with base,
Yeah.
with
So with braced frame,
you
that's like
get,
huge.
92 stability.
Oh God,
Yeah.
that's
Hey,
gonna
now.
be.
But I got it with Underdog and Life Support on it as well. So those are two quite useful perks, I think. So, you know, if you get your health down, you've got that extra bit of range there when you really, really need it, and then kills with the gun can, you know, sometimes trigger your health regen. So it was. I thought when I got it was my girlfriend that got it. She was playing SRL on my account at my mum and dad's, and she was like, "I got a Luna," and I was like, "That's both Lunas on Xbox and on PlayStation, the one each." You know, like, and they were identical apart from one's brace frame, one was small ball. So
I mean, it sounds like you found the secret to getting your IS Lunas.
Oh
Let
yeah,
her play on
Let
all
the
your
girlfriend
accounts.
play. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
she's coming
That's
over
it.
later on today, so I'll be like, sit down, play Crucible. Doesn't matter how well
Yeah,
you do.
yeah.
Get me the Luna rangefinder, rifle barrel, sure shot, and hidden hand, please. Thank you.
She comes in and she's holding out her hands like, I'm so glad to see you. And you're like, me too. And you just put a controller in her hand. Yeah, turn
Get to
around
work.
and push her towards
Now
the
get to
TV.
work.
Yeah,
There
man.
you go.
But yeah, if anyone's got brace frame Luna, go out there and try it. Let me know what you think about it, man. I'd be really anxious to see what folks think of that, man, because it was good. It was surprisingly good. Not like my explosive rounds casket mag one that I'll sometimes whip out for a nightfall to be completely sadistic.
Story's going to forge the new meta.
Yeah, man.
Like the next PvP Legends Varcog tourney, everyone's going to be rolling in with braced frame. They're like,
The
yeah,
new braced
this is
frame
this is the
meta.
new meta right here, the braced frame.
Actually, well, I'm thinking I can just nuke people with 1,000 casket mag hand cannons in one big juicy Nova bomb. There's
There you
all
go.
my RNG for you.
Juicy Nova Bomb.
But yeah, there you go, man. But yeah, the search goes on for my favourite Luna. Rangefinder, hidden hand, rifle barrel, short shot. Thank you. Please.
Yes, please and thank you.
Yeah, I
I
want
still
that.
have not gotten a rangefinder rifle bearer Luna.
Same here.
I would like to have one.
I saw quite a few drop in SRL, but none with rangefinder. Literally none. So I was never jealous of someone else's Luna at any point. Yeah.
Link, why does it say the Black Link no under your name on Skype?
I'm not quite sure. I noticed that when I was
you an
hosting the
imposter?
podcast.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, who are you?
No, I'm the Black Link. Yes.
Because I just was looking at the Bones story, the Black Link. No,
No.
No.
pull off.
I think
the
it's
mask.
something to do with just the name that's set up in Skype. Oh, you know what? That might be it, because I think Skype asks for like your broadcast name, and it's like once a first name and a last name, and that's it. I put no as the last name, so it thinks no
Wow.
is my last name. So there you go. That's my last name is no.
What a badass last name. No.
No.
TBL no.
And then you're filling out forms and work, and it's like, don't write on this page, and you write okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna upload
'Cause I'm a rebel,
screenshot of
that's what I
that to
do.
Mad Lads.
Mad lads.
But did you guys get down on any of the combined arms playlists this week?
God no.
I did a game to get that Radiant Treasure and then stopped.
Yeah.
No.
Interesting. I'm a fan of combined arms. I always liked the game mode, because larger maps are kind of weird in Destiny, but I like being able to hop into an interceptor for 17 minutes and not do anything else. Because for some reason, people who play on the combined arm playlist completely ignore the interceptor. So
Man.
in like a ton of the games I've played, I just hop into it, sit by C, and kill anything that comes near it. It's great.
Do you remember very early Destiny? God, I'm having such weird thoughts of how different very early Destiny PvP is to current Destiny PvP. You have like very high, fast-paced game modes right now. Mostly threes are probably the most popular playlists, but early Destiny, there was no combined arms playlist. You would go into Clash with a bunch of your friends, and there were these
Yep.
huge maps, and there were vehicles everywhere, and you wanted to fucking kill yourself.
Hopping on
It
the
was-
Sparrow and driving back to A and then getting off and then running
Yeah.
over.
Oh my god. What is the name of that huge map on Mars? I haven't played it
Bastion.
in forever.
Bastion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My first
oh my gosh,
ever
PTSD.
Yeah, ever PvP experience. My first time spawning into PvP. It was on Bastion on Xbox. I was alive for a second before I got run over by a sparrow, and I thought, "What? They got sparrows in here? Okay."
Welcome to Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And then it's just bottom left. Such and such player left the game. Such and such player left the game, and it was like, "Oh, I'm the only one left." You know.
Oh yeah, dude. Especially back in year one when you would get like First Light and Bastion in a row in just like the normal control playlist.
Yeah.
And yeah, you'd have people just quitting, which would make the match last even longer if you stayed in there.
Yep.
But
I would do anything in Destiny if it meant people just stayed in the game. I have no problems if people just stay in the game. It can be fun. Literally everything is ruined by people just leaving the game these days.
Literally everything.
I mean, that's
No,
literally
it's
like,
true. It's really frustrating when you go into a game, especially really early in the game. Like under a minute in, it's like, okay, the score is 300 to 100. Buddy.
Bungie, stop putting me in games that are already underway. Well, it's like because some asshole right before you was just like, I don't like it.
I didn't get first kill. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm done. Done.
What if they just really need to pee?
Too bad.
It could be
Hold it in, baby.
incontinence. The year of incontinence. It's like, I want to play this game.
Why did
I
they
want to play
start
it, but I
another
can't.
game?
Yeah, once you press A or X to lock yourself into matchmaking, you've made a commitment, all right? You signed your name on the dotted line. Your P comes later, okay?
I just think it's
2017
crazy, like,
cannot be the year of quitters. You stay in there.
Yeah.
please.
Stay in the match.
Soil yourself.
I'm derailing the conversation with this, but like every game or most games can have some sort of rule. It's just like, all right, you left one game. Well, that's not the end of the world. You did have to pee, or like your mom just pulled the plug on your PS4 because you stayed up too late. That happens, but maybe that happens like once a month. If you're a person that just is like, I don't like it, nah, I'm losing, and you quit, like every other game has something of just like, nah, you've left too many games. You can't start playing it for another 20 minutes or a week. Or in Overwatch, it's like, you just abandoned your team. We're going to give you a loss, and your ELO is going down.
Same
all of
with
that
Call of Duty.
It's like all of that is so simple and needs to happen, and then you just don't. I mean, not that it's the perfect solution, but it would reduce the amount of games that you're dropped into. It would. You'd still end up in some because people will drop, but like you have a higher chance of people playing out full games. And I don't know why it's there.
And I mean, it's not even, especially with Destiny, it's not even worth quitting because you get rewards whether you win or you lose.
Exactly.
Like
you're about
Crucible
to get,
pays
like,
bank.
10 marks and a chance at IS Luna. I'll sit around.
The rewards at the moment, I don't know. I just feel like they're not landing at all. Like,
really?
Yeah, man.
I see a legendary literally at the end of every Crucible game. Maybe not always for me, but legendaries literally drop for everybody.
Also, if you're still playing Crucible at this point, it might be because you want that. I mean, I'm assuming that like a good amount of people are like, I'm gonna grind out for these guns, and especially considering Crucible has access to 2 of the best PvP weapons in the game.
Yeah.
I would assume that like people still playing Destiny at this day in this day and age.
If you're still on this game,
like if there's a legendary that drops for me, it's gonna be a scout rifle. I could probably compress an elephant to a thin slice of paper with the amount of scout rifles that I've had in the last few months. I'm like the scout. I like the endorsement sponsorship for scout rifles. Me, please, everything under the sun, scout rifle. You know, open my fly to go to the toilet, scout rifle flops out.
What?
10 of them, you know. Go to the fridge, I want to make a sandwich. Oh my God, there's 10 scout rifles in my fridge.
It's everywhere.
Well, Link, if every time you finish a game there's a legendary drop, you need to come play with me immediately.
Jump on in, man. I mean, I'm not going to promise you're going to get the most fun lobbies, but I always see legendaries dropping for people. It's not always me, but
You've been ducking my invites though lately.
not ducking. I recently went through and saw you sent me a bunch of messages. I have notifications turned off on PS4.
Well,
so like
look at
I don't
that.
see any invites or any messages, and I do that because I got tired of getting those on streams.
You don't have the app where you get them on your phone at least?
Oh, the PSN app? No, I uninstalled that because I got tired of my phone vibrating from messages. It happens.
Wow,
I'm
dodge.
sorry, fam.
We're going to have to
The
DM
dodge
you on
game is
Twitter then for
strong.
the...
I ain't got time for But getting back to the topic, the other thing I like about combined arms is I can kind of go into it, and I don't really have to worry about the current meta so much. Like, you're not shotgun rushing with optimal efficiency in combined arms.
No.
You can snipe in combined arms.
Yeah.
You can use scouts in combined arms. You can use auto rifles for a bit in combined arms. That's the other thing I like about it. When I get tired of playing Supremacy, my other favorite game mode, and, you know, shotgun juggernaut rushing, because that's what I do, I head into combined arms, and it's like, I can pull out my wounded and do well. I like that.
That
works for me.
Larger maps. It's like we experienced that when we had First Light as a trials map, you know?
Everyone hated it.
I loved it. I had a great
Yeah,
time
that
with
was
that,
fun.
man. Just because you couldn't shotgun rush on it, and I don't have anything really against shotguns other than the blanking and stuff like that. That's the only problem I have with them. But on First Light, shotgun rushers, I mean, there were teams that we played that were very effective. They closed the gaps, they got on the sparrows, they closed the gaps quickly, they had huge amounts of confidence, and that's what confidence and good positioning to close those gaps, that's what you need. But there was just too many good counters for it, and that's not camping with snipers. You could aggressively push with the Queensbreaker. The sidearms were decent, scout rifles with crowd control and outlaw and all that kind of things were decent. There was just a whole bunch of weapons that aren't classified as meta weapons that came straight back into the pool again. So that's what big maps does, because the majority of Destiny PvP maps are very, very close quarters. Even if they've got a large space, there's lots of nooks and crannies and terrain and stuff like that, which will give a shotgun rusher a lot of cover.
Do you guys know the cliff you could have jumped on in First Light over the cave spawn, and you had to like get up on one rock and then like leap all the way over to the cliff side, and you could sit up on this one little ledge and just pick people off for days and they would hate you.
Lord.
The
I
old
feel like I missed
icebreaker
that
ledge.
about video games and shooters where you just be like, oh, that person's up there in the spot. It's like, it's happened a few times on other maps and people get real salty, but I just think it's kind of funny, like when Frontier had that little space above the door.
Oh yeah.
And people would pick you off, and you'd just be like, "That son of a bitch, he's up there." But then you'd shoot him, and their orb is stuck up there, and you're just laughing while their teammates are like, "Oh,
God.
you idiot! Why'd you have to get shot up there?"
Pump Train
I
showed
love
me
that
an
stuff.
awesome spot on Drifter last night. I think he's in the chat. Pump Train. There's
He
a
is.
horrible spot on Drifter. He killed himself a couple of times trying to fly over to it, but like it's where
Sounds like Pump Train.
there's like the balcony. Is it the B where the heavy spawns? There's like
I know.
a balcony.
Yeah. Okay. So picture Drifter. There's the indoor heavy up top, the top of the map inside, and then on the opposite side of the map, there's heavy ammo, kind of in an outside area at the bottom of two ramps. You know what I'm talking about? And then if you jump and float way, like pretend you're gonna jump off the map past heavy, but you keep going. There's a dome all the way at the back of the map, and you can land out there on some random beam
Yeah.
and run around. I don't know why you would want to go out there, but it's good for a lull every now and then to catch
Reasons.
somebody off guard. They're like, did that guy kill me from out there? What the fuck is he doing out there?
Yeah, but it was funny because he was over there and he was like, the thing I love about this spot is that if you hit someone with just one shot, they have no idea where it's coming from, and it's really funny just watching them go, oh my god, where
Get
am
spooked.
I being hit from, They can see you on the radar, but you're nowhere near them, that kind of thing. So, yeah. But we had the same thing, Battlefield 3. If there's anyone who played Battlefield 3, no shot canals,
Oh, yeah.
TDM, that crane. Oh my god, that
crane.
crane. And
Yep.
on PC, all you would see in the chat was like, you'd see in the kill feed, sniper headshot, and then you'd see in the chat, get off the crane in caps. But I got a really good technique where if you would get underneath the crane and turn around backwards and throw a grenade upwards, it would go and land on the crane, and you'd just get like quad feeds from all the campy snipers up there and stuff. It was
Dude,
awesome.
you were making it way too hard on yourself. All you had to do was swap to recon class, pull out the MAV, which is
Oh,
the
yeah.
flying drone, fly it up there behind them, and then you could sit on the crane and push them all off in a row. So they'd be scoped in, and then suddenly
I didn't
heading
know
towards the
you
ground.
could push them
Yeah.
up, because I know that the MAV was something that really used to annoy me. big time, like getting killed with that. But they nerfed it, but you could still push people. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
But it was such a small space, and one time there was so many of them up there spawning on the beacon that they just kept falling off like lemmings. You know.
Did anybody play Halo 2?
Oh,
Yes.
I missed all the Halo PvP
Link
stuff.
played Halo 2? So there was like a trick where you could switch back and forth between a rocket launcher and a sword. And like if you did it quick enough and like hit the swing, yeah, I'm doing the fucking, I'm miming it out here.
Yep.
You could basically trick the game into thinking that you've locked onto somebody with a sword, and it activates the lunge, and you Superman across like half the map. So we would do these things where we'd go into custom games, and we would go so far out of the map, like miles and miles and miles, and then we would invite somebody into the game, and they'd be like, "Where are you guys?" And we're like, "All right, time to kill this guy."
Sniper.
Oh,
10
good
out of 10.
times.
I miss super jumps.
Oh,
Super
super
bounces.
jumps, yes.
Like on Zanzibar, where you like
Absolutely.
tuck into the corner, turn,
Yep.
jump, land on the side of the railing, and then bounce on top of the
Fly
windmill,
away.
and you're up there. Oh my gosh!
So much fun.
I mean, I'm glad that doesn't happen, but that was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
good
True.
times.
True.
I mean, oh gosh, if we're on the topic of weird first-person shooter glitches, this is bringing back memories. There was a game that came out on the original Nintendo Wii called The Conduit. And oh my god, this game, it was a motion control game. But in The Conduit, in the multiplayer, there was a glitch where if you swapped weapons that you had equipped fast enough, you could trick the game into dropping one of the guns, picking it back up, and merging its stats with the gun you had equipped.
Holy Lord. What the hell?
It was the most broken.
Explain that again. Explain it again.
You would swap weapons. So if you had a primary and your secondary, you would
Okay.
swap weapons, and while you were swapping them, you would like drop your gun to pick up another gun. The game would get confused and mix the stats of the gun you were picking up with the one you had equipped. So you could like swap and mix a submachine gun and a rocket launcher.
I'm trying to think of if that applied to Destiny PvP. What
Oh
would
my
the dirtiest weapon fusion be?
Yallerthorn.
Yeah.
Yallerthorn?
Oh no.
Well,
Oh no.
something with a high rate of fire, with endless magazines, with Wolfpack rounds. So,
I want an IS Luna with old LDR armor-piercing rounds.
Yes. Oh my god.
Oh,
Sniping
no.
people through walls.
Through walls.
Palindrome with sniper shots.
The old outside of sea wall bang.
Oh
yeah.
my goodness. Jump up on the water tower, shoot C, get a double. All right, game begins.
Easy money.
GG's.
Maybe
yeah, that
an
sounds like
auto
an
Thankfully-
outright
rifle.
broken mechanic that would ruin a game. It sounds
It
like
did.
Dude, that would absolutely break. Maybe a shadow price that shoots thorn rounds.
Oh my god. With like the old damage over time.
Super
Year one
toxic,
damage over
yeah.
time.
Oh my goodness.
Are we going to
That'd be
open
the
up
best guy.
to more questions then this week, Ben, as we're waiting on Bungie to deliver some information from the clouds?
You want to do a
I'd be
little
down.
early question stuff and just
I
talk
was
about
early
it?
just, I was
Q&A?
just thinking, because we didn't have much of an outline for today. I mean, we can
Yeah,
save it
no.
to a little bit later on if you like. But, you know, when things are a little on the dry side, it's good to get
Sure.
folks in and, you know.
Thought we could talk a little bit about trials before we.
Yeah, sure.
Or we could do-
sure.
yeah.
Oh, you want
whatever.
to, Fallout? You want to talk about that?
I do actually.
I know you
I had
hate
a
it.
good time. I do. I do not like trials. Confirmed. Okay, so Bones is laughing about that because he asked me to help him take a friend of his to the lighthouse. Who we met him at Destiny Con, right?
Correct.
Okay, really nice guy. He had never been in year 3, pretty sure, and
Yep.
we took him to the lighthouse. And I really do like Burning Shrine. I really like that
Yeah,
map.
me too.
Yeah.
But lately, Trials has just been frustrating for me. Even though I'm getting people to the lighthouse, it's still... Because I like fast-paced games. I like to sweat. I like skirmish. I like the constant motion. And sometimes when everything grinds down to a standstill in Trials, and you get like a whole team of hard scopers out on the beach or whatever with the sun behind them, I'm just like, oh my
Yep.
god. So we got this guy to the lighthouse, and I was super happy to do it with Bones. It was a lot of fun. And then I was like, okay, dude, I'm going to eat dinner. I'll talk to you later. And then I put down the controller and I leave the party chat. And for some reason, he could still hear me on his machine. And like I walked away and I was like, oh, I fucking hate Trials, dude.
So I'm all my friends are like are like scared now that I'm telling them this, but for some reason, with whatever my PS4 settings are with audio, where it goes output, input, fire team, party chat, if someone's in my fire team but they're not in the party chat, I can hear their fire team audio. So if they're still talking, then I can hear them. And it just happens like Fallout was just like, oh yeah, I'm not in the party yet, so I'm like talking to my friend next to me, and then they join the party and they think that's the first time anyone's hearing them, and I can hear them. So people will leave the party and I can like hear exactly what they say before they've turned off their PS4 or something like that. And nothing terrible. I've heard some salty comments, but it's always funny, or it's a little awkward when I hear them talking and I'm just like, they don't know I can hear them.
Yeah.
But you know, Trials is definitely frustrating. That being said, it was a nice little battle to the lighthouse today. Shout out to Shallow Crow who got there. And yeah, I don't know. Burning Shrine is good. I like Burning Shrine. I think it's the ultimate sort of gauntlet map. It's sort of simple enough while not being entirely boring and symmetrical. You know, there's at least differences in outside, inside. It can be a little standoffish. Yeah. This is one of the first weeks where I do sort of feel like Scories was frustrating. Normally, I don't care if a team camps really hard. Like Fallout, you don't like when the momentum stops. And yeah, that's not great. But I've always really loved when I can successfully like play mind games and just make them sit out there.
There you go.
You know, part of the camping strategy is waiting for your enemies to get antsy and peek. And if you cannot do that, they just don't know what to do. So like that can work on certain maps. On Shrine, especially with Scories, like we lost a Mercy because we just like lost track of supers, and I'm like, really? Yeah. Like we lost that round because there's like another tether at the end of this. Like, oh God, come on. And so that was the only time I was really frustrated by that. So
you think Scories needs to be rebalanced, and if so, how could it be rebalanced?
I think it'd be a fun PvE thing that you use in the Nightfall and that you use in the raids, where you're scared and you're huddling in a corner and your friend is dead and you're like, oh, give me Scories, and you get your bubble and you go save your friend, pop bubble.
Give me some
great.
Scories, man.
I mean, like, that's fine, because that doesn't, like, I don't know, the idea of, because Fallout's point is that it changes the momentum and it slows the game. And high-level Destiny plays better when it can be a little quicker. Yeah.
That's how it's
supposed to be. I'm like torn.
Yeah.
Because Elimination is already geared towards slow, careful strategy, positioning, mind games. And I like that. That's why I like Trials as a game mode. It's because it's about outthinking the other team and a little bit of gun skill. But when the outthinking becomes like, don't do anything. I think it's like I used to play it too far.
I used to play Age of Empires. Did anybody play that game, Age of Empires or Age of Empires 2? It's like a strategy game. It's like Red Alert, and you'll fight with old armies and whatever. And so it was so much fun to clash your armies together and just beat the shit out of your friend and whatever. You have these huge fights on the middle of the map. But then there was a way to win. You have your villagers build a wonder. And it's this thing that you build deep in the corner of your base, and it costs a lot of resources. But if you build the wonder, then it puts a thing on the screen. It's like, oh, if you don't beat this in whatever it is, 10 minutes, then the game is over. And every time I would play online with other people, we would have rooms where we were like, 3v3, no wonders or something like that. Because it's lame. Like, I don't know. It's
no heavy.
I struggle with both halves of my brain, because one part of me is like, yeah, it's part of the game and it changes it up, and I shouldn't complain about something just because I don't like it, because I don't like when a lot of other people do that. It's like, oh, I don't like this, it should be removed totally, which is kind of maybe a little bit scrubby. But then there's the other half of me that's like, but it's so boring though. I don't want them to just sit there and camp with Scory. I want to have fast, fun action. It's just so lame when they're like getting a suntan out on the beach on on Burning Shrine. And I'm like, come on, man. Colada. Yeah, drinking a banana daiquiri.
Like, if your play is patient and you are a player who can do that, and your goal is to take advantage of the general shooter's urge to kill and urge to run and peek out through doors, then fine, you can be rewarded for patience. But your reward should be a kill because you killed me because I got jumpy and antsy and I really wanted to go shoot you when I walked into a doorway. That's your reward, not like also a super while you sit there.
Just sitting back waiting and building supers.
Yeah. There's got to be a tweak that doesn't totally destroy a mechanic, but yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because the underlying religion is that everything needs to be identical in both PvP and PvE, which that's been thrown into controversy quite a lot. And there's so many things that aren't the same, you know, that they do have slightly different feels or they're different rules or, you know, science behind it all. And I think that maybe the easiest or the most effortless suggestion would be that supers charge slower in PvP than they do in PvE. But I don't know, that is literally pushing that controversy. I don't think Bungie are going to be too happy with that, you know. So that
it has to be sort of a last resort to say we're just going to turn this off. I think that has to be a last resort. It's
or
like
maybe there has to be two people with scories, and then they have to have
like
their
to
supers.
link. To get linked.
Yeah, like to create some kind of link with another Guardian. So you have to have two people with it that sacrifice their artifact slot for that, and they have to be like much closer. Maybe I don't know whether that would do anything.
I would love it.
You know,
it'd be great because you could just like counter that with like a well placed grenade. Where you're always going to hit both of them because they're just trying to hold hands. Like, you should actually have to hold hands. You have to be doing that friend emote where you do the high fives and spin around.
Yeah,
It has to be perfect.
There we go. That's how you... You have to synchronize dance moves. That's how you activate scories now in PvP.
Yeah.
I mean...
go ahead.
I was just going to say, you bring up a point that Bungie's talked about before. They like to keep parity between PvE and PvP. How do you guys feel about that? I know certainly, Bones, you've had interviews discussing that very thing. How do you guys feel about them trying to keep all abilities completely equal and doing the same thing across PvE and PvP?
Unity is a good idea. I think in its essence, it's a very innocent and also a strong idea. Whether it works in every possible conceivable way is quite questionable. You know, it's a hard thing to have to balance. I mean, of all the games that I've played in the last decade, Destiny's probably one of the most hardest games to balance just because of the sheer variety of stuff and different classes and abilities and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean that it's impossible to balance it. And certainly if we had more frequent patches, I think they'd be able to get closer to a much better formula. But in terms of trying to get that unity between the both, I don't know if that will ever be possible, you know, so... Because some things are just never going to work well in competitive multiplayer, you know, like something, there's golden rules, the FPS rules that have to be respected,
Contracts.
you know.
Yeah.
There's those contracts,
Yeah. I think philosophically, as a design philosophy, it's a good goal. And I think if they continue to say our goal is for this to happen, then I think we sort of get the best out of that. Because like Story just said, that there's a lot of things that are different currently. There's a lot of loadout choices we all make. I definitely have sort of, not for all three of my classes, but my Warlock, it gets a little more PvE time. I have like my PvE build. I got my raid gear that I throw on. And they already encourage that, right?
Yeah.
You get raid gear that helps you in the raid because you're not going to use your Iron Banner gear, which helps you in the Crucible. And that's perk specific. So, you know, there's proof that it has to be different, and it will in some cases always. Yeah, I mean, that being said, if the philosophy is to have it cross over often, I think that's good for this game. I think Destiny works well if that's the case. I think I worry that when you start splitting it more, you get on this slippery slope of getting too many variables, where you just start going like, uh-oh, everything's in two different hands, and now I got to do this.
Yep.
And it's getting farther away, and I don't know what to do, or we got to have like a patch for PvE now and a patch for PvP.
That's
I started
dangerous.
worrying about that when...
that's dangerous.
Yeah, when Overwatch did that. They changed the balances between PS or console and PC, and they didn't do it right away, which is great. I mean, if they had done the first patch and it was different, we would have had this splitting path. But eventually it became, okay, Torbjorn is a little out of control because the console can't react to that.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, there you go. There's your one time you can do this. It's very important that this happen, but it's not going to create this rift where they all go in totally opposite directions. And if that would happen, if it happened more, I think it'd be frustrating. I think we'd have too much stuff in our vaults.
It might be. Yeah, it would. It's really hard to do. To get perfect balance between PvP and PvE, I wouldn't. I wouldn't expect Bungie to do that.
Or to try.
As long as my Crucible is relatively balanced, I'm okay. Do whatever you want for the.
See, weapon balancing is always something that needs to be like an on-the-fly tuned, kind of thing, because I think it's impossible for any multiplayer testing team to discover all of the most either overpowered combinations or things that might be broken or really weak. And especially with the variety in a game like Destiny, it's going to be very hard to explore all of those avenues in a controlled situation. It has to be released out into the wild so it can propagate and everyone, millions of people can get their hands on it in order to understand, all these different explored avenues. So weapon balancing for me is always something that's going to be done on the fly. But I think one of the biggest problems that we have with that is that we have, is it 2 balancing patches per year, or is it 3? Which is a little on the...
On an average of 2, I think.
Yeah, it's quite... that. I mean, there's a lot of complaint about weapon subclass balance and all that kind of thing. I think they'd be able to achieve a better harmony with that with more frequent patches. Not crazy amounts, because patches cost a shit ton of money to release on consoles.
They have to pay for those.
Yeah.
No, it's free. You just
they're
fix
not
it. They're just
free?
refusing to.
However,
you just do it and they just don't listen.
Yeah. However,
no, they're not listening to us.
That's their industry that they've chosen to thrive in, and I think for a game's health, they have to do more. They have to increase it.
Yeah, I think the best was when the Taken King came out. We had a little hot fix every week for like almost 9 weeks or something like that. Maybe one or there,
for a while.
not in there. And that wasn't PvP balance, so I'm not saying there was like patch 2.4, 2.5, but we had little fixes, we had tweaks, we had just tiny things after a bunch of new stuff had been added that felt really good, because even if we knew some stuff might change, it was sort of nice to have that reminder. And again, I don't know if that's feasible, especially not this late in the game with the sequel on its way, that they're giving us little balance patches to a 2.5-year-old game. But if that's a new plan, and they've talked about how going forward they want that live team to be live, to be real consistent right there with you. If they're setting up this good new foundation for the sequel where they can drop in little things and say, all right, that one tiny thing is weird this week, we can do that for you. I think that's going to be this ideal scenario, because it was great going from September to December with weapons right before Taken King, hot fixes, and then a subclass change in about 3 months. Perfect. I don't know if we can ask for that consistently, but it definitely felt good to have those tweaks.
I've got a little.
I just want to jump in.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, because we're doing a live podcast as we always do, that we had 2 notes from people in the chat, one from Pump Train and one from Iron Fish Flower, who suggested they're trying to think of ways. They're just brainstorming in the Twitch chat right now about what to do with Scories if they were to make tweaks to it. And one suggestion was, if you're using Scories and you have a full charge and you're charging your teammates, you have you take an increased amount of damage slightly. And the other suggestion was, if you have a charge on Scories and your teammates are benefiting from the charge, then the person with Scories gets a slowdown debuff.
Oh,
that's interesting.
Like a light
that
overcharge.
Is pretty good, man.
That's kind of cool, right?
It's got to
like
be
kind of weighted down by something.
Yeah, like you're moving a little
providing
slower
charge.
because you're charging. I like that idea.
Yeah, that's really good. Like a
That'd be
punishment for like making something that's very
Make it
high
a trade-off.
reward, like have a risk to it,
It's because that would be something that wouldn't affect you until you've got your super and you're charging other people.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
It reflects the idea of support classes versus assault classes, which is it's really sort of hybrid in Destiny. It's never been fully true, but you get the ideas like a Sunsinger or a Defender who's slower but giving people supers and that sort of thing, and they're sort of like the thing you got to protect. It's fairly true now, but it's something in the future that it really could push classes to, like, here's the Slayers, here's the team support, here's the defense, the tanks and stuff like that. That'd be pretty cool. I like those changes.
Excellent. That's really good stuff. Well
Yeah.
done. We should get you guys
Well
on the
done,
podcast.
Chat.
You can take
You
my
guys should
place.
do this job.
I got something.
Featuring the whole chat.
I got something here that Bones. I think Bones is going to be all over. This is something that popped in my head towards today. There's a lot of talk about vault space. People
Oh, boy.
running out of space. I've also
That's me.
seen folks complaining about if they want to get a particular loadout for armor and things like that, they're getting the same. So I'm getting the same stuff. Sidearms for days. Sidearm ammo, sidearm reload. You're just getting really bad perks trying to gear yourself up for different loadouts. And we've got 3 subclasses of character. And at the moment, it's something like 9 armor sets to try and load out for specific subclasses with specific weapon ammo boosters and capacities and reloads and stuff like that. And this is just creating like a huge amount of, almost like a waste of your character's inventory as well as a waste of vault space. So here's an idea that I had, and that is we go back to the year 1 simplification of chess pieces with like ammo booster for specials, ammo booster for heavies. Like just that, or like that's the variation. It's primary, secondary, and the third, the heavy ammo. Yeah. So you don't have sidearm ammo, everything's split up because it's just so crazy the amount of variation that we've got. And then maybe with the weapon reloads, that needs to be itemized. But do we really need weapon reload speed for snipers, shotguns, sidearms? I think it'd be primaries really, and the same for what was I going to say? There was the other things that you got. Intellect, discipline. That should be where you grind. You want to gear up for different things like that. At the moment, we're grinding for armor for different loadouts, and it's taking a while to get the stuff that you need. And there's just so much variation. I think there's too much variation, and this is just basically eating up your spaces. But what do you guys think about that?
I was going to say, that you're right when you say that it's an idea that brings up stuff that Bones has talked about before with stat rolling. Mm-hmm. Anytime you get something that's not 92% and above, you shard it, because why would that even exist? Yeah. Why would there be 83% stat rolls on armor? Yeah, and I'd be happy with that if I could get just a unified special ammo buff on my chest piece or whatever, like we had on some armor pieces back in the day. Yeah. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it really seems...
Got down on the grind.
Yeah. Story, I think one thing you and I both have been dealing with for the past month, and I always have to put this disclaimer on it, but 1% players, we play this game a lot. We're doing a fucking podcast about it. Yeah. Obviously, we spend a lot of time there, different experiences, but it baffles me now as I keep playing this game into 2017. And I'm like, man, I have been working my ass off, going flawless, week after week. I'm not good enough to carry any day I pick up the controller. So I've been grinding. I've been playing hard. I've been trying to get better. I've gone to the lighthouse. I don't know how many times in year 3. How do I not have like a set of trials gear to show off? Yeah. Like, how do I not have 4 pieces that match? Even if the perks aren't there? Like, I don't even get like legs ever. I've gotten so again, it's a very like gimme kind of request, but it's like, all right, so at this point today, we got to the lighthouse, helped a friend, good feeling. That's why we did it. I'm not out there grinding for gear that much. Well, that's my reason for playing. But when I got to the lighthouse, I opened the chest and I get, of course, the weapons. I have all of them, but I get a helmet again, and it's like my 12th helmet. I'm just sort of like, really?
It goes back to
just the helmet.
Yeah, it goes back to the. I've had a suspicion. This is just my suspicions. This is not like confirmed. This is just my opinion. But like, I strongly believe that Destiny has a more private loot system rather than RNG. So, for example, if you main hand cannons, if you main snipers, then you're going to get a reduced drop rate on hand cannons or snipers, and the same with your armor. Because that's the carrot on the stick. That's the stuff that you use, so, to elongate your play, So this is why we're getting sidearm reload gear. This is why you're being starved of the boots that you want. It's to keep you playing, which makes the corporate sense. However, I do think it's a little strong,
I don't know if I'm going to entertain the conspiracy part of that. I do agree with you that there is a analytical consumer reason for why certain RNG is the way
Yeah.
it is. I think obviously that there are people studying this, studying consumers, studying what keeps people playing, and they said this gets the most attention out of us, and I get that. I am the product in that case. All right, whatever. But I think Destiny is more than just some stupid loot game where it just piles on and it doesn't matter, and I got everything in the game, collect and collect and collect. Like, we don't collect. Some people want to for fun, but like that's not the goal. The goal is not get everything. If the goal was you get a wall on the tower and you get to fill in all these squares because you got everything, then sure, that would be the goal some people would shoot for, but it's not. The goal is become your own legend.
Yes.
And it's real fucking difficult to become the legend I want to be
Yeah.
when I'm getting 85% boots with fusion rifles.
Yeah.
That's
very
stuff
true.
that you don't use.
Absolutely.
You know, like the stuff that you find. It's like, what am I going to do with that? Why am I getting showered in scout rifles all the time? That's the weapon I use the least. It's just pure coincidence and sidearm reload stuff. You know, it's.
I wish there was a system where it was just like, I can still grind. If Bungie wants me to grind, I'll freaking grind. All right, but like, just let me grind with a plan. Okay, like let me turn in
work
like
towards
okay,
something.
I go to somebody I don't know who at the tower, Zavala, because why the hell not? I just like, oh, here's my marks, and you give me that piece of armor, and now I give more marks to the armor smith or whatever, and I buy the perk. Like I buy the stat loadout that I want, or something like that, or I buy this perk, or I buy that perk. That way we could at least grind towards a goal, and like people could take pride in their weapons, be like, oh dude, I ground out for like a whole week and check out this IS Luna I got. It's got like rangefinder,
I crafted
hidden
this
hand or whatever. Like this is mine. I earned this gun. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a mixture between grinding and reforging in a way.
Really simple example is Archon's Forge. Right? We got a dude in a specific social space giving us specific bounties for that, and it's a specific activity with a specific set of rewards. In my opinion, one of the coolest armor sets you can get for all three classes right now is the stuff from Archon's Forge. And I love all that. Grinding Archon's Forge right now is not great. It's something I can do for an hour if I'm watching Netflix. But it's repetitive at this point, and the drops are sort of like whatever. And I've gotten 2 pieces of that armor on my Titan that are kind of unusable, but they're sort of sitting there because maybe I want to see what they look like all together. So if I'm going to go talk to Shiro and I'm going to pick up 4 bounties, I'm going to turn in stuff for him. How about I do that for a week and I get the arms and I get those arms. And I do that for another week and I get the legs. I mean, not the best legs. I do that for a week and I use my points or my stuff with him or my bounty point that I get, and I go, give me different legs. Give me the legs with sniper ammo.
Exactly.
And in any amount of time, say there's 3 months after Rise of Iron, and then you check Twitter and it's 3 months in and you've got one guy going, check out my Trials of Osiris set. I've got all the pieces and it's my new set and I'm going to play with that. And then you got the PvE guy that you follow who's like, check me out. I got all the Archon's Forge stuff but not forgotten. And then you go, look at me. I've got the raid set and I got that shader because this is what I chose to devote my time to. And you could go to the tower and you could say, look at that PvP guy and look at that raid guy. And damn, that guy's really good at Prison of Elders apparently.
People love customization. That's something where Bungie could really capitalize on for Destiny too. Like if you could just make change, like you earn weapons and you earn gear, you customize them the way that you want, but still in a way that you're playing the game in a way where it's not super easy. Like, oh, I just played for like an hour and I got like my end gear, art weapon loadout. You know what I mean? Like work towards a goal.
Exactly.
But like more, you could buy. I don't know, like a whole... I'm just thinking of Call of Duty. Like, you know how you go into Call of Duty and people they customize their banner and they customize their own emblem and you can customize the gun however you want. And the guns have skins on the gun. And I just feel like this is this huge untapped area that Bungie can really take advantage of.
Inaccessible
Destiny
items. 2. Well, hopefully, like that's my gripe with the loot. Whether it's RNG or PLS, there is an inherent issue with folks that are going for certain things. You know, like recently I started playing a lot of Sunsinger, you know, bringing that back. I'm enjoying the old solar grenades and stickies. I've never used stickies, but I've been using them a lot over the last couple of weeks, and I've had fun with it. Now I'm trying to gear myself up appropriately for Sunsingers again with new loot. I cannot for the life of me get a sniper rifle chest piece with discipline strength and solar armor. I can't get sniper rifle boots You know,
And it gets
like,
frustrating.
yeah, it does, because
Yeah,
it's like,
it
I
does.
want that and I
Frustrating.
can't get it. It's like the game is literally denying me of that. It's almost like it knows I need it. And it's like, oh, a new carrot on the stick. Come on,
It's
story.
like your girlfriend play,
100
bro.
of hours, you know.
There you
Yeah, my
go.
girlfriend on the controller.
You know.
But
I
yeah,
know.
you get into
Girlfriend
these weird
RNG.
situations where I know people who play like me, which is I put on the ugliest armor. I don't care because I just want the best possible perks that I have. I'm like, that armor is ass ugly, but it has
can't do it.
shotgun ammo on it and
Yeah.
hand cannon reloader or
I can't do
whatever.
it.
I'm like, just put
I gotta
it
look
on,
fly.
dude.
I have to look fly.
Yeah. And then my girlfriend has an armor loadout and it's like styling, you know what I mean? I like her Titan looks super baller because it's like all matching and
Yeah.
it's just super decked out. But you look at it and it's like a hair off of perfect. And I'm like, why don't you just put on the other one to get to tier 12? It's like, because then I don't look awesome. And I'm like, all right, that's fair.
exactly.
Like, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could just combine the two?
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
And
What do you think,
when you
Link?
talk
You've been
about that-
quite quiet there, man. I know that you're into your armors and your loadouts and stuff as well, man. What do you think of this whole setup?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. I'm definitely somebody who there's a lot of cool looking armor sets in the game that I want, but half of the ones that I get, like, hold on, I've got Dim up right now. This is actually something I experienced this week. I basically have the full set of armor that you get from Commander Zavala's bounties. It's a super awesome set. It's called the Dying Star set for Warlocks. It looks great. 4 out of the 5 pieces of it are garbage stat rolls and are perks that I don't need. It's like Scout Rifle Loader and Pulse Rifle
Enjoy.
Loader.
Isn't it cool to use Silver Dust, which is like the rarer economy thing in the game, and you use
Yeah.
Silver Dust and you get a piece of crap armor from that roll?
You get a piece of crap armor
and you get
from
one
it.
Silver
And
Dust back.
So I would absolutely love it if we could have a more direct way to get the armor that we want, or if we had a way to pick the abilities that we wanted. Like I think this is all kind of going back to the root issue of being able to reforge or just forge the armor that you really want to get. And of course, we had reforging in year 1. It was a very simple version of reforging, but it worked. I would really like to, honestly, I'd like to see some variant of reforging come back.
Bring back Reforge.
See, I had a very long
Hashtag bring it back.
conversation with a friend of mine on Twitter about reforging. His opinion was that reforging makes the game very bland. This is the controversial argument against reforging, that it
Bland
makes the
is
game
a subject. Bland is a subjective
Oh, I'm
subjective
word.
with you.
term.
I'm with you.
Subjective term.
I would rather have it back to be able to have.
Also, there's not only
some-
one way to reforge.
Yeah.
There's not one way to do it.
Yeah, there's like, how about this? A friend of mine, Gary, suggested this. How about, how we have quest lines for exotics? Well, we have we can have quest lines for legendary pieces of gear that involve like a crafting kind of basis. So you have to go and collect, I don't know, like 100 spirit blooms, and then you got to fight certain enemies in order to get to the gunsmith, or you go to Shaxx to, maybe Shaxx does the armor, and then the gunsmith does the weapons. The gunsmith is an untapped resource for stuff. At the moment, it's a very
Really is.
Absolutely.
small.
You think
It
you would
really
smith some
is.
guns?
Yeah.
He's just a slot machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
like-
a lot of the guns don't really have much use. Like, there is some useful stuff. You occasionally get some god roll stuff, and like every Wednesday, Arms Day, that was a great touch. It's just a very wasted opportunity. But imagine,
Got like 3 god roll weapons and everything else is garbage.
yeah, but
The only thing
still-
the weapon guy is good for right now is for YouTube content creators who like, oh look, I went into PvP with the gunsmith like shotgun. Lol. And don't get me wrong, those videos are hilarious, but like the gunsmith needs to be able to give us more than just a randomly
Yeah.
shitty auto rifle every Wednesday.
yeah, man.
Before we,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, before we get like finished with this topic, Fallout made one point. We're talking about choosing to use something that's cool versus choosing to use something that's good, and
Yeah.
I mentioned saying having a full trial set. One thing I have to say though, Destiny has always done this miraculously beautiful job of making almost every piece look really great together. A lot of that is shaders, and I think shaders are just the best invention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The standard for a lot of customization in shooters is picking out your colors and getting red, and if you want to use red, you use red, and yellow is your accent color, very Halo-esque, and I don't mind that in plenty of games, but it's really great when a shader just perfects the color combinations. You don't look ugly, and everything looks cool. And so it's like so great to see how shaders change. So getting the perfect gear is not problematic, and I don't think it ruins that vibe because stuff can really look good together. So if you're really trying to get that perfect setup, I think it'd be awesome if you were like, I can get those raid arms that I want, and I can get that Archon's Forge chest piece because they look awesome. They're my 2 favorite pieces, and I can also get that cloak and stuff like that. It doesn't make anything bland. It doesn't limit. It doesn't mean you have to do one activity forever to get your set of armor. If you want to, you can. I think it just even further creates unique looking Guardians who want to look the way they want to look. And if you like that trial set, you get that damn trial set.
I'm officially axing the conversation topic because that was very well put by Bones.
Yeah.
Done. Drop the mic.
And all of you. I think that this stuff's bothering me, and I hate being bothered by anything in Destiny, but I'm just like, why have I put this much time in? I don't have exactly what I want because I'm a little needy baby and I want to get the stuff that I want.
Hey, but I get it. It's like you spend a lot of hours. When you spend several hundred hours and you still haven't got the thing that you really want, you know, it's that's too much, man. There's something wrong there that does need a bit of a tweak. But I also understand the other side of the argument. You can't get everything straight away, but that's not the point. Changing these things won't mean that you get everything straight away. You still have to put the time in to get it.
Also, I'll feel terrible if like someone hears this at Bungie and they're like, I've been working on this for like fucking 5 months. I'm gonna put it in the sequel. No shit, dude. I'm gonna.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
We know.
It's like I do this for a living. I fucking get it, man. Like
it's coming in Destiny 2. What you've just described here is already coming.
Oh, don't quote me on that.
Yeah, let's hope.
There's actually something kind of off of this that I was looking on YouTube and stuff. Talking a little bit about Destiny 2. Anything anyone says to you is rumor at this point, so keep that in mind.
Hearsay.
But we can
Facts,
theorize and
speculate. Yes.
Fallout I came up with a cool one in Trials this week about how there should be like a fake blink. Like if a Voidwalker had like a decoy blink and you like pump fake it,
that would
like
be
you're gonna blink and they look, but you don't. But you
I got
can
distracted.
blink if you want.
That's cool.
In the middle of our Trials card, because Bones brought it up, I was like, dude, that is such a good idea.
Yeah, that's not what I wanted to talk about, but
yeah, because you could like fake blink to psych people out, and it would become this whole new jump option. And I was trying to think of like what else you could add in to like mind game the thing, and I was just going on, and Bones was like, there's 2 outside A, there's 2 outside A, there's 2 outside A, and I'm like I'm not even concentrating because I'm like, oh shit, right, we're like trying to take somebody to the lighthouse. My bad.
Yeah. Okay,
but yeah,
such
a cool idea though.
Speculation. I was watching a YouTube video by Eric's with some K's and some Z's in there. Great dude, makes really good content. And he did a little everything we know about Destiny 2, which is, very little, lots of rumors. But he talked about some other game. I can't think of what game it was because I don't know the MMO RPG world as well. But he mentioned that when they came out with a sequel, they referenced the old character. They didn't let you continue. You didn't bring all your stuff with you. You weren't the same person. You started over. But there was like a shrine to your former self. So like in Destiny terms, it'd be like, what if there was a shrine to the legend that we became, the Guardian that defeated 3 raid bosses and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if you guys think, does ditching all your stuff sound more appealing if there's some sort of cool lore that's created and added, and if your Guardian or our Guardian became a character in the game?
I mean, look, I'm just going to make my next character look exactly like my character right now. So
wow.
He's still going to be
the only one that's ever said that, that's confident in their design.
People are really hyped about the fact, because Bungie's mentioned that it's going to be like this, there's probably going to be a progression in some manner, you know what I mean? They're going to tie the games together.
Right.
But, like, I don't really care about my character that much. That sounds terrible, but I'm sure Destiny 2 is going to have all new guns and all new lots of things. I wouldn't care at all to restart my character. I mean, I would maybe be sad for, like, 5 minutes because my Warlock is super sexy, awoken chick, and she's freaking awesome, and I love her. But I'm just going to, like Link said, I'm just going to make her over again if I can't bring her over. So
make the same
who
character.
Cares? Like,
the only thing that I'd really want, like, 100% is like the shaders and the emblems that we've collected You know, like, so that would be the nostalgia. That would be the shrine for me. Like, I used to wear this emblem in year 1. This is my Vault of Glass emblem. I want to wear it again. So if there is a shader and emblem system, I mean, that kind of stuff is just... Emblem? Well, no, you know what I mean, shader. Chatter White, you know.
Chatter White, baby.
Chatter White.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but like just that
I imagine
stuff,
that's pretty much...
like to bring through. I think if they don't have that, then that's going to be a little disappointing for me.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, I'd imagine that's probably all that's really going to happen. It's probably going to be, story-wise, the same character going forward.
Yeah.
But the only thing, if you transfer a character, you're probably just going to get like a shader and an emblem that says, you were here for Destiny 1.
That'd be cool.
None of the guns are going to transfer. It's going to be a fresh start, and I'm okay with that.
yeah, same here.
Alright.
Like
Yeah, I'd be okay
literally,
with a fresh
because
start.
they also have the element of bringing nostalgia back. Like in Destiny 2,
Yeah.
you know, it could be halfway through that's lifespan, and it's like, oh, you can last words coming back, and it's like everyone's, oh wow, you know, icebreaker, blah blah blah.
Which is probably going to happen.
Yeah, or something
We're
similar.
completely honest.
But like, just having an account where you still have access to the things that you've collected in that kind of sense, shaders and emblems. You know, those are the things that are really like the reminiscent that should transfer. But in terms of like having all of your gear, all of your vault, all of that kind of stuff, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest.
I think the two things that make me hesitant on either one, I'm talking about like having some sort of memory of our character and sort of picking up a new one, is that the actual character development of us has been really weird and vague. And on one side it is me, it's like me and my friends and blah blah blah. The Destiny's about being me rather than like I'm Geralt in The Witcher, you know. But like our characters haven't talked in so long, and that bothers me, weirds me out even, that we had like a few lines of dialogue in the original. It was like, at least I know who I sounded like. And then expansions came out, and it was just like, yeah, we're not going to do like 9 voices
Yeah.
for that. So the Guardian just sort of like, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll go do that thing. Okay, Saladin, I'm going to stand behind you. And I just want a little more like interaction there. So if we're carrying over, I'm like, I don't even know what I am or what my character is.
I don't even know who I am anymore.
I don't know my identity.
But it's like if like the new storyline starts and we're talking, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I forgot what my character sounded like.
Yeah.
The same time, if he becomes sort of like character in the game, and I'm like, yes, that's the legend, I'll be like, that generic thing that has real no character traits that just beats some raids and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
really
us.
married to anything in Destiny, anyways. It'll be cool if they made like old legendary weapons exotic.
Ooh,
That's all I
really
look forward
cool
to. I
idea.
don't need anything in this game. I'll snap my disc if they said that's what you need to do to install the new one.
Good call, buddy. That's
I
putting
hope
it
they
in a
don't.
really
You guys
extreme
ready to
way,
move
but
on to
yeah,
some
good
questions?
call. Questions.
Yes.
Questions.
People have been waiting.
They have been waiting. We have
Hit us.
little time. Let's try and do this quick.
A fountain of questions, please.
Question from Subcult.
Right. Quick.
What is your opinion on if in Destiny 2 they separate PvP from PvE weapons completely?
We talked a bit
kind of
about
touched
that.
on that already. I mean, if they separated them completely, like here's a gun, you can only use it in PvP. Or here's a gun, you can only use it in PvE.
I think that's problematic.
I don't know. I do think that would be
Well,
problematic.
That gets a thumbs
or
down.
I'd imagine
weird.
Yeah.
I would imagine they would handle it in the way most MMOs handle it. In MMOs, you have different weapons and armors for PvP and PvE. You can bring PvE weapons and armor into PvP, and you can bring PvP weapons and armor into PvE, but they have certain abilities that will only activate whether you're in PvP or PvE. So if you had like an in-game raid weapon in PvE, you'd bring it into PvP, it wouldn't have its in-game abilities. It would just be a weapon with certain stats.
So a little more
I don't know if
like-
that would work for
we kind
Destiny.
of have that, but you're saying like that would have its one thing. So like
Yeah.
a raid weapon only has a raid perk rather than having
And
the
I don't know
battle
if that
runner
would
and
work
stuff.
with Destiny.
Right.
Yeah. Because Destiny has a bunch of generic perks. It might work more so for like armor abilities, but for weapons, I don't know. Maybe he's talking about if they balance like weapon damage differently. Because right now, weapon damage is pretty much when they nerf and buff weapons, they nerf and buff the damage of those weapons in both PvE and PvP. I don't know if they do that separately. I don't know how it would work with Destiny. It's kind of a hard subject to balance
Yeah.
out.
Very tricky. Good question, though, but very tricky. New question from Swagmaster. Should the Viking funeral perk on Sunsinger be put back to what it was? Right now, it is kind of garbage. They could rework the burn somehow. Gentlemen, thoughts?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Sunsinger recently, and originally I thought that they got nerfed too hard, and I'm going to stick with that. They did.
Yeah.
And
it kind of makes me giggle. There were like a lot of very vocal people in the community saying like, dude, Sunsinger's really strong. They need a nerf. They need a nerf. And then after asking for so long and countless memes and potentially angry tweets.
We love our memes, don't we?
Yeah, we sure do.
We do.
They nerfed the Firebolt, and then maybe like 2 weeks later, some of the same community members on Twitter were like, yeah, you know what?
It's
that
trash.
might have been too much.
Oops.
We're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I've
did
had a
really
few
kind
moments where the burn and damage taking thing element now that they added was really cool. So the concept is now they are on fire. They don't burn out crazy fast like they used to. It doesn't do as much overall damage, but when they are on fire, they take more damage.
More damage, yeah.
So I had this awesome firebolt where crowded up on the special weapon. I tagged them all, and then I just was able to pick them off really fast. But it was really fast. Like it was a really, really quick play. So I liked that, but the more I played with it, the more I found it was so hard to actually get that follow-up shot because they'd get tagged and they'd duck behind a corner
run.
and I'd like, huh, and I'd go look around the corner, and by that time they're done. So I thought it'd be cool if they were burning longer and they were taken out of the play like they used to be, but not left at such like a crippling state. Because the problem was, it's like, okay, I'm burned. I got tagged by a firebolt. Hopefully I don't die. And if I don't, I'm going to be really, really weak. So I can't help and I can't push because I'm not going to be back for a while. It'd be cool if it burned for a longer time, much less damage, but that damage taking thing was still there the whole time. So it's like they're not in a crippling state, but if they want to push with their team and if they want to try to help, they're going to be a really weak target. And that way, if they do survive the burn, they're okay. They can get back in the action quicker, but it's sort of like a real risky thing if they want to do it. I'm just thinking of all the grenades that do have a good ability of keeping someone away for a while, i.e. Axions and skip grenades. Skips are like,
grenades.
Run for your life and just do a lap over by C.
God,
Come on
so
back when you're
annoying.
done. But you can survive pretty well. You can be at almost full strength. You'll be back. You can, as soon as they're done, you're back with your team and you can help shooting. Firebolts, it was like, hold on.
You know what the
Gotta
part
go.
that irritates me about Firebolts
Alright, I'm
now
not done
is
burning.
that you
My
try to...
recovery.
I was
Okay.
playing a Sunsinger last week for my year 1 shenanigans, and the range, I just never hit anybody. You know what I mean? You throw it in, and the range is like these little T-Rex nades. And just thinking of the Sunsinger's intended role as like a supporty kind of class, right? Maybe, what if they tweaked it in a way that Firebolt grenades do no damage, but they bring back the range and the ability to connect to enemies very easy. That was one of the things that really appealed to me about the Firebolt, is that how reliable they were. Like, you throw it in and you're like, you're probably going to get a tag. But what if they don't do any damage, no damage, and they do something else? Like, they take away the enemy's radar for 10 seconds, or the enemy isn't able to charge their super for like 20 seconds. Like, it's kind of like a shut off the supercharge nade. Or if they become visible on radar for your teammates for like 10 seconds or something like that. I'm just trying to think of ways to make it viable in like a supporty kind of way, rather than the painfully annoying.
Those sound like really good
I'm,
Night
burning
Stalker
for like 8
perks.
seconds.
You know, all of those ones, like the radar and the not being able to charge your super. I would relate that to Night Stalker rather than a Sunsinger, personally. You know.
Yeah. Just thinking of cool things to do. But you're right. That's a good question. I think they might have groin kicked the Sunsinger a wee bit.
Yeah, gone over
A little
too
hard.
hard.
Yeah.
Question from Diamond Wolf. What's on the screen behind you? That would be my girlfriend playing Destiny. She is in the menu screen doing nothing. How boring. I was hoping for a better answer for you. Sorry. What are you playing?
We all do it.
I was going to try and join my friend who's trying to level up a character. But
Trying to level up a character. For trying to level up a friend's character. How very nice.
Inventory management.
Admirable.
It's
Inventory management.
yes.
Oh, my favorite activity, honestly.
Yeah.
The meta.
I love inventory management.
Yeah.
Okay, good question there. Thank you very much. Question from Walter. Story, you mentioned this to me earlier today. Have any of you watched Travelers on Netflix, episode 8, 21st minute? Wow, that is
Yes.
very
No,
specific that
it
you know the
is.
exact minute.
Yes,
They
because there's a
directly
reference.
referenced several Destiny guns. I did not
did.
know
What
that.
guns?
It's
The
very cool. What did
exotics.
they reference?
They do.
The Last Word, Fourth Horseman, Patience and Time.
What was the context?
Basically, not too much spoilers. The Travelers is a series where the future is bleak. There's been disasters that have happened, and they want to send people back in time, and they do it through transmitting consciousness through quantum mechanics into people's bodies that were going to die in the past. So they're sending these conscious minds back to the 21st century, and they're super skilled, super intelligent people, and they need money to fund their missions to try and stop all these disasters from happening. So naturally, they know what to bet on. You know, and the guy's coming down an escalator, and he says, "Put your money on these horses." The Last Word, Fourth Horseman, and it's just a big
that's
string
cool.
of Destiny exotics.
That's
I was
very
was just a
I was
big,
just about to
yeah.
nod off to sleep, and I'm like, "Whoa,
Wait a second.
That word-
I know those words.
that's cool!"
It's like when Nathan Fillion made a Destiny
Yeah.
reference in Castle.
Yeah.
It was great.
yeah.
Good
I
call.
love that.
Good.
Yeah, man.
That's really cool that they did that.
Speaking
Question-
of references,
Oh,
it's sort of
sorry.
different, but you know what I'm excited for, and I think is really awesome? The designers of Mass Effect credited Destiny for inspiring some of their designs.
Very cool.
And
Really?
you can look at it like just the ads and stuff like that. It does look very Destiny-esque in a very
look a
cool
lot
way. Where I just really appreciate the idea of Destiny inspiring games and sort of having an impact in the way that Bungie video games have always done. That made me happy to know that someone's out there going like, I want my game to look like this one, because Destiny is a beautiful looking game. Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
Sure. Question from a Twitter account named Deege's Jacket. And the profile picture is of Deej wearing that ridiculous, what is that? Like, it's like a shiny, what is that made out of?
That
Is it
beautiful
Queen's
green dinner
Web?
jacket.
Yeah, what is that? Deege's Jacket.
Silk
Yeah.
paisley green.
Question.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Deege's Web.
Do you think Deej is ever going to wear me again? I am
Yeah, probably
so
not.
Someday.
happy that someone decided to go out of their way and make a Twitter identity completely 100% based on someone's jacket that they wore like one
Geezy
time.
JK.
Amazing. No, Deej will never wear you again. Rip your soul.
Well, just crush his dreams there.
I was about to read a question, but I realized that I can't read it because I don't know what he wrote.
Rip.
Mr. R's asks, when do you think we will get our first look into Destiny 2 before or at E3? Place our bets now?
At E3.
At E3.
E3?
It's
At E3.
It's got to be at
the
E3.
most obvious guess.
It's a good timing. This is another thing that Eric's was talking about in that video. Go watch that video if you just want to sit there and sort of get excited, even
Yeah.
though it's far off. Is that games really need that 4 to 6 months, so to speak, to advertise and start talking about it. So he laid out the schedule of what seems really natural based off of everything Destiny related coming out in September. So I think we can look forward to a trailer at E3, some
Yes.
stuff around there, maybe some gameplay at Gamescom or something like that, and then looking forward to our release in September. And if they follow that schedule, I think it'd be perfect. And they've said
Yeah.
that they feel like they're on schedule. So I think that's where we're.
Mhm.
That's my guess. I think that's all of our guesses. So
Probably.
just got to be patient till
E3.
June.
Yep.
A bunch of ride-alongs, Gamescom, release.
Yep.
We've had
And I'm cool with that.
We've had this question before, but I do like bringing it up every now and then. Question from Sergeant Pepper. Favorite non-meta weapon to play around with in PvP? See, look, Link is in deep thought.
I've got a huge list, so
I know.
you guys go first.
I've
What if
got
I told
a new
Link-
one? I've got a new one.
You can only have one answer.
Thanks to a friend of mine at the moment. I've had one that I've had lots of fun with, and that's the Kvostov, the new exotic.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've had loads.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
With the right loadout on that, it's not terrible at all, you know, and it's got some nice ornaments on it, so you know.
What is the name of the Iron Banner scout rifle?
Collivance's
Distant Star.
duty?
Distant Star.
Oh yeah,
That's my answer
new
to that
one,
question.
yeah.
The Distant Star.
That's good.
With explosive
That's
rounds,
good, though.
mandatory. Totally mandatory.
Yes.
To piss off
I was
people
messing
when you
with
shoot.
Boolean Gemini last weekend on Exodus Blue.
How'd that work out?
Surprisingly good.
Yeah, and it's got high caliber. You got unflinching
Cool.
for those 1v1s. I was messing around because it's got barrel mods like exotics do. And if you've never heard me talk about this or on Crucible Radio, barrel mods can really change a gun. It can push an auto rifle to hit really hard. Monte Carlo can do more points to the head. So if you can handle stability on stuff, some exotics can hit pretty hard. And it doesn't change the time to kill on Boolean, but if you want to go ag balls in low range, it can hit for like 64, like pretty heavy body shots. So it helps you with assists. And it's a really fun gun because I think it could be more like noticeable. That's why it's not the most used gun, but it has an options for added armor or extra agility based on kills. And it's like if you are a warrior that wants to hit fire your scout and get a little armor in the nick of time, it can be fun. Or if you're just a position based sniper with your primary and stuff like that, it's cool. I hope that one kind of, I don't know if it will. They're not going to make every exotic perfect, but I hope it's not forgotten.
It's surprisingly, it's one of those weapons nobody uses, but it's surprisingly good.
Yeah.
If you're wondering what happened to Mida's high cal, Bungie took it and put it on Boolean. It's a really, it's a really fun gun. Very fun.
Scout rifles are so weird to me because I use them, and I feel like I'm the only one using that mid rate of fire, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Cocytus is good. You could, if you're good with that, you're good." It's like, yeah, it's got a fast time to kill on paper if you're hitting crits, but if you miss, and the body shots are really slow, and then everyone's going, use that Suros with full auto, and I'm like, that's not, I guess that's a thing, but that the mid archetype can be nice, can be really nice. I use it on quite a few trials maps. Widow's Court with a shotgun, this weekend on Shrine down that lane. Nothing's like ruining a sniper's chance at shooting you across by hitting them with a scout rifle that no one's heard of in months, and then they died at that. I'm like, yeah, so that was me.
It's good.
Yeah. All right, Link.
All right,
final answer.
So I have a huge number of things for this, but I think I've narrowed it down to one weapon that I've been using for the past couple of weeks that is really not the best, but I've found some really fun success with it. The new Iron Banner fusion rifle, the Branded Lord. This thing has become one of my favorite counter shotgun weapons because just how silly it can be. It's in the fastest rate of fire tier for fusions, so you have to land a ludicrous number of bolts to kill. I think you have to land minimum 6 bolts to kill, which is like 1 underneath what it fires. But the charge rate is so quick. If you can get a decent stability roll of it, you can actually run accelerated coils to speed it up even further, which raises the number of bolts you need to kill to 7. But I found it easy enough to land those bolts. I get some really crazy kills with it. And
you heard it here, folks. That is the only non-meta PvP weapon that Link likes. There's no other.
Right. The rest are trash. They're all garbage. But yeah, it's a really fun, quick charging weapon that I've really come to love. It doesn't always work, but when it does, it's like mini Plan C. I like it.
I got one of those. I might have to try it. I don't know what I got it.
If you can keep that bolt spread tight, if you can keep it on target, it's surprisingly good.
Okay. Alrighty.
Well, we found some stuff to talk about this week, guys.
We always
sure did.
Yeah,
we always do.
I really like answering the questions, though. I feel like sometime soon we should do like the all questions only episode that we've been talking about every now and then.